Hey everyone! It's Miss Roberts here again to talk to you about nonfiction books. Um, and we know that nonfiction books teach us things. We learn a lot of different information in different nonfiction books. And sometimes nonfiction books teach us a lot of information. And we learn so much from them, and it's hard to keep up with it all. So today I want to teach you that nonfiction readers can take a nonfiction text and break it apart into smaller sections so we can better keep up with all the information the nonfiction book is teaching us. And there are some clues in nonfiction books that can help us as readers to break apart the book and figure out what those smaller sections are. So, we're going to go over 3 different clues that nonfiction readers can use today. Clues to use when breaking the text apart. So the first clue that a reader can use to break apart the text is noticing the pictures and when the pictures are changing. So for example, if we had a picture of a butterfly on one page, and then we had a picture of a caterpillar on the next page, we know that those are 2 different sections because the pictures are of 2 different things. The second clue that a reader can use when breaking apart text is paying attention to headings. Remember, headings are the chapter titles in nonfiction books. So when there is a new heading, that means a new section is starting. For example, if we were reading a book and we had a heading that was frogs, and on the next page or the next couple of pages, we had a heading that was lizards, we know that those are 2 different sections teaching us 2 different things. The third clue that a reader can use to break apart text is noticing when the information changes. So let's say you're reading a book and you're learning on one page that frogs jump and how frogs move, and on the next page or a few pages after, you start to learn about snakes and how snakes move. You know that those are 2 different sections and you could break those apart. So let's practice using a book that I have for us today. So this book is called What If You Had Animal Feet? So I'm going to use my chart here to help me figure out how to break apart this book. So the first thing I'm going to look for are the pictures. I think that's probably the easiest way to know when to break apart sections in a nonfiction text. So if I'm just kind of skimming this book, this is the first page, and I see a kangaroo, and then on this page, I see a little girl, and she has kangaroo feet. So flipping to the next page here, I have a totally different picture of a horsefly here, and then a little boy, he's all the way up in the corner over here, and he actually has some horsefly feet. So already I know that these are 2 different sections because the pictures change. One picture was of a kangaroo. On the next page, I had a horsefly. 2 totally different pictures, so those are 2 different sections. So the next thing I want to pay attention to try and help me break apart this book are the headings. Remember, the headings in nonfiction books are chapter titles. So they're at the top of the page here. This heading says a green basilisk lizard. Okay. The next page, different heading. This heading is cheetah. So again, I know that because those are 2 different headings, one being the lizard, the next being the cheetah, I know that those are 2 different sections in this book. So let's try and use our third clue we talked about, noticing when the information changes. So here's the next page in this book, and there's a fact box at the bottom that I'm going to read to you. It says, a special network of tiny blood vessels help keep a wolf's feet warm even on ice. And the information here under the heading tells me that gray wolf's feet are called paws. When they cross snow, the wolf's toes separate and stretch apart, making its paws bigger, like wearing snowshoes. Okay. In the next page here, there's another cool fact box that I'll read to you. It says, a male duck-billed platypus's back feet each have a spur-like nail to inject venom, a poisonous fluid. And then this information under the heading, it teaches us that they have skin connecting to its spread apart toes, that their feet are called webbed feet. So I know that this information here about the platypus is totally different than the information I was reading on these pages about the gray wolf. So again, I know that because this information is changing, these are two different sections. One is about gray wolves, and the next is about the duck-billed platypus. Okay? So let's again review these different sections and kind of how I figured that out. So here, I noticed a picture of a kangaroo. Here, I noticed a picture of a house fly or a horsefly. So I know that these are two different sections. One about a kangaroo and one about the horsefly. The next sections that we kind of talked about today was this heading here is the green basilisk lizard, which is a totally different heading than this being the cheetah. So I know that these are two different sections. This section is about the lizard. This section is about the cheetah. So the third clue that we paid attention to together today was the information. So I read you guys the facts at the bottom. Those are kind of like wow facts in this book. This entire page was all about the gray wolf. It taught me things like that the wolf's feet are called paws, that they have the tiny blood vessels that help their feet stay warm even on ice. Okay? And then when I flipped the page, all of this information was about a platypus, the duck-billed platypus. So the fun fact here was that the male platypus's back feet have venom, and they're able to inject that, probably to protect themselves. All of this information here under the heading was still about the platypus. We learned things like they have skin connecting its spread apart toes. They have webbed feet. They can actually walk on the bottom of the ocean floor. And so there again, because the information was so different, I know that these are two totally different sections. This section is all about the gray wolf, and this section was all about the duck-billed platypus. So, again, the three clues that are going to really help you as a reader break apart your nonfiction books into smaller sections are going to be when the pictures change, when there is a new heading, and when the information changes. Something I like to do as a reader is actually, once I've kind of figured out where different sections start and end, I like to mark them with a sticky note. You could even use like a small piece of cut up or torn paper. So what I like to do is, as I'm reading and I'm noticing when sections end and begin, I kind of just stick a sticky note here, so I know that I'm reading a new section. So that's something that you can do at home to help you keep track of all the sections that you're figuring out in your own book. So this chart is going to be on the lesson plans for this week. It'll also be on the website. Make sure you use it when you're trying to break apart your own books at home. So again, use this chart to help you at home. And tomorrow in our lesson, we're going to talk about what do we do once we've broken apart the sections in our nonfiction books.